funny timing. That tree just had a bunch of branches that snap off. That's insane. These trees are dying. And I think we all know why. Up there, the stuff that's coming down at us, that they're spraying on top of us. And that's definitely created and manipulated clouds. No doubt in my mind. Absolutely no doubt in my mind. Anyhow, windy. It wasn't that windy. I was just out here 15 minutes ago, and it wasn't windy like this. I'm gonna leave my camera out here. I would imagine this tripod right here would withstand winds up to probably 40 to 60 miles an hour. It's pretty massive, pretty secure tripod. So I guess I could just keep my fingers crossed, because that would stink if this almost $1,000 camera got knocked over with this tripod and smashed. I would be heartbroken. definitely windy. Cloud, if that's what you'd like to call it, fake cloud, is it's so obviously being created and manipulated. I mean, it's and nanoparticles. I mean, look at it. It's all in formation, just in this section, and it's moving in a very regular pattern. You know? I mean, look, it's got a defined frickin' edge. When does a cloud have a defined edge? Come on. Look at it. It's got a defined edge. And it goes on, obviously, for miles and miles and miles. And it's like a feather. Like the end of it's feathered. See? You see it all the way over there. All down through. I mean, come on. Alright, since when does a natural cloud formation do these things? It doesn't do these things. And it's almost as if it's all traveling. It's all traveling in it's from left to right direction here. Here, I'll give you some perspective. That's my arbor that's on my deck there, and you can basically see, this stuff moving in a steady flow in a specific direction. And some might argue and say, well, it's wind, but this is not a cloud. It's nanotechnology. It's not being moved by the wind. It might be in part. Maybe they're manipulating the wind to blow in a certain direction too. I don't know. But whether or not they're doing that, it definitely has a destination, and it is going to its destination. Of that, there is no doubt in my mind. It's too regular. It's like feathered almost, you know. It's just lines all the way through it, and it's consistent. Lines, waves, lines, whatever you want to call it, and it's moving off in this direction at a very regular shape, size, formation, and speed. Now, we're having gusts of wind right now. You would think that would change the shape of this thing, or it would change the speed possibly. But this thing is not changing. I mean, I'm sure it's changing, but it's, generally speaking, it's keeping its shape, and it's going in a specific direction, almost as if it has a purpose or a destination. All you have to do is look up nanotechnology, you know, nanoparticles, nanofibers, you know, in chemtrails, or maybe nanoparticles in the sky, nanofibers, nanotubes. It's all, they're spraying it all up there. and it's all different kinds of nanotechnology for its various different reasons. Most of it, I would say, has to do with weather manipulation and weather warfare, but it also has other purposes when it gets down to ground level and we inhale that stuff, and these particles get into our system and affect our health and used to control us in different ways as well. Look it up. If you're a person that doesn't know about this stuff, don't take my word. You know, you might be sitting there shaking your head thinking, oh wow, what a nut. Look it up. You'll see it. You'll see the technology. I've already seen it, so I know what I'm talking about. I've seen it. I've read it. They're working on this technology. They've had this technology. They're constantly improving it. Years ago, I used to be a Trekkie, and I watched all that stuff, you know, and the episodes where, you know, like Wesley was fooling around with the nanoparticles, and the nanoparticles, the nanites, I think they called them, took over the ship and reprogrammed it and almost created a life force, or was trying to create a life force out of the ship, which and I believe it created some other kind of life force that actually left the ship, but it was programming the ship, and it looked like the brain the structure of a brain, the way the electrical connections were trying to link. And what it was doing, I guess, in the movie, was creating another life, and then it dismantled all that on the ship. But the point is that I was always intrigued, thinking to myself, that's amazing technology, and, you know, one day I'm sure we'll have it, but I certainly wasn't thinking 30 years. And of course, come to find out, they had it back then and long before then. They've had nanotechnology for, I don't even know how long, but a long time. This is all agendas in play here. Now look at this. Look at this over here. What's that? There was no chemtrail that came through here, or a chem plane. But that certainly is taking shape. I mean, this thing is just non-stop. What is it? You know, what's its mission? What's its destination? Is it going to join another group of fake, man-made, created weather warfare clouds? Probably. I don't know. Like I said, this stuff has many different reasons. There's many reasons that they spray this stuff on us. Partially to obscure things above, partially for weather warfare, partially for the nanoparticles to come down to the ground level and get into our bodies and systems and damage our systems. You know, I have recently, and not even just recently, I've thought about it for a long time, but definitely more so recently, how society, supposedly, we evolve, right? That's what the mainstream science says. We evolve, right? But I think back 30, 40, you know, years ago, and further, you know, watching old newscasts and what have you. And if you listen, just for an example, to politicians, the way they spoke, just anybody in the way they spoke years ago, they were far more clearly spoken, concise. They didn't stutter. And I'm not talking to someone with a stutter necessarily. I'm talking an everyday person. Because all people these days stutter, trip over their words, have brain fog, or brain farts, or whatever you want to call it. I mean, and it ain't even just in how old you are. You could be 20 years old and having brain fog. I've had it through the years myself. You know, we always relate that to something that happens to someone who's older, but it's not just related to people who are older. Anyhow, the point where I'm going with this is people years ago didn't have all these issues. They were very clear spoken, very well spoken. But if you listen to people today, they can hardly hold on to a sentence. They can hardly finish a thought or a point of a story without tripping over words, forgetting what the heck their point was. I do it myself. It's very frustrating. And I certainly know that it has nothing to do with my education level. I'm no genius, but I'm also no dummy. And for me to constantly forget words and sometimes lose the point in the direction I was going in a conversation. Doesn't happen often, but it happens more often. It has to do with this stuff. It has to do with all these chemicals, the nanoparticles, the GMOs in the food, and they're poisoning us in every way, in the waters, everything. It's all around us, all the time. I mean, come on now, we've been looking at this formation for 20 minutes, right? Look at it. It's still got that same shape, similar direction, everything. Everything. It's still on its mission. Look at it. I mean, come on. 20 minutes. 20 minutes. It's windy out here. Why hasn't it changed? Right? I mean, and look at it. It's like you got these intricate, I don't know, formations. Like this formation here. What the heck? It's very strange. Very, very, very strange. I mean, it's almost as if this component here is separate from the upper stuff. And, hold on, my tripod's not agreeing with me. What's it doing? Maybe it's got a different aspect to the mission. Whatever is in this, almost like a point. Comes to a point way down there when it first started. It's a point, right? And then as it's coming through this way, it's getting thicker and wider. But it's all in that same row. It's all in that same row. Come on. How's that natural? Think about it. Think about it. Come on. Remember when you were younger, looking at the sky? I mean, you just didn't see stuff like this. And if you've seen anything even similar, it was so rare. This is a regular occurrence now. You know? Anyhow, folks, I think I've rambled on enough about the topic. Kind of hope you watched the whole video. This is the whole point of me doing this, but, it's your choice. You all have a great day.